If you want to lose 20 to 30 pounds, you need to stop treating your nutrition like a part-time job. Guys fail their diet because they're too complex. They can't survive a busy workday. So I want to give you 3 nutritional hacks that will help you gain control. But first, I'm Sam Fowkes, and for the last 8 years, I have helped hundreds of men bridge the gap from working hard to actually seeing results. Because I've made it my mission to show guys that they do not have to accept their current situation any longer. And these 3 things are exactly what I use with my guys to manage their career and their lives while seeing results. First off is you have to track your current day of eating, right? So what I get everybody to do before we start and before I send them their program is I get them to track 7 days, right? So it's called an assessment week. We go through what you eat, how you train, ask you a questionnaire, everything like that. But what I want you to focus on here is tracking your nutrition for 7 days. Because why we need to do this is we need to know where you are. There's no point giving you an arbitrary number. We can tell you to go get a calculator or use a calculator, but that hasn't worked in the past. So what I get all my guys to do is figure out, where are you right now? Because as I said, my job and what I do with my guys is bridge the gap of where you are to where you want to be. Because once you get that starting number, once you find your starting point, you can drop those calories from there and figure out, okay, right, well, how and where am I? Where's my maintenance? How much do I need to, or what do I need to eat to be in a deficit? How far do I have to push this? And that number only becomes clear once you track and once you know those numbers that you are currently eating. This is something I actually go through in my 4 weeks free coaching. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, go to the link in the description to find out a little bit more. The second thing I do is I get my guys to try and eat the same thing. Now, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, oh, that's boring. I can't do that. I need variety. But when you go to a restaurant, what do you order? Do you eat the same things? Do you have the same things for breakfast? When you look at your days and your weeks, you probably eat similar things already, but because someone is telling you to, it feels very different. The reasons I do this is because it removes decision fatigue. So again, there's no clouding of thought, there's no stress, there's no panicking of what you can eat or what you are going to eat. It creates simplicity, again, limiting the stress, giving you clarity. Something I say is so important is clarity, especially when it comes to getting in shape. If you're confused or you're doubtful or you're hesitant, you will make a bad decision. So this can work in a number of ways, right? You can prep your meals. If you cook your own meals, then I would advise batch cooking. So you have 4 meals or 4 days worth of meals. You can do this on a Sunday. What you can also do is, if you're in work, I have something that I use, or a system that I use with my guys with Deliveroo. So what we do is we pick 2 to 3 options, typically ones or kind of options that have calories on the menu. So then you know the numbers, and just again, pick 2 to 4 options from there. Try and keep them in a certain range. And again, you need to know your numbers for this. So protein is super important, because when ordering, protein is going to be typically a bit lower in these kind of meals. But there are a lot of good options, I'm sure, wherever you are in the world. In Dubai, there's so many. And again, just having 2 to 3 places that you know you can order from, or if you're in a different part of town or city or whatever, maybe it's something kind of common like that, you just know you have something to go to. So again, it removes stress, it removes thought. And the same goes for restaurants, right? If you eat at the same restaurant for lunch while you're in work, or out at a restaurant on the weekend with family, right? Pick something that you know is going to be a suitable option, or that fits the rest of your day. Don't just guess. This is what all this is about, is we are removing guesswork. And that's where number 3 comes in, is planning ahead, whether that is tracking ahead of time, which I strongly recommend you do, and don't leave it to the day, because that's what happens with so many guys, is they try and track as they go, they forget, or they'll try and do it at the end of the day and it'll just feel like a lot of effort and they don't have time, and all the excuses that you've used under the sun, right? Whereas if you spend 5 minutes the night before, going through tomorrow and planning out what you're going to do, again, that magical word clarity, it gives you clarity on what you're going to eat. It gives you clarity on knowing that you are going to hit your numbers and not get to the end of the day and realize, oh, well, I'm over my calories and I've only hit 120 grams of protein, right? Knowing ahead of time removes all that, removes decisions, it removes stress, it removes everything and gives you clarity. And planning ahead also counts for when you're going out to eat. You can look at the menu ahead of time, plan it. What are you going to have? Because if you sit down and you are hungry, you're there with friends, you're chatting, you're discussing things, whatever, and the waiter comes, you are just going to pick whatever jumps out at you, which typically will not be the best decision for you. And a couple of go-to things that I would say when you're eating out at a restaurant and bearing in mind is pick the best option that you can with in terms of lean meats, stay away from saucy dishes, things like that. It's just going to help you save a lot more calories. And that's why looking ahead of time is going to save you so much effort and better results. And if, like many people, you want to sit down with the family every night and you can't plan or have the same meals like the previous point, then you need to plan ahead, because you will plan your morning, you'll plan your afternoon, and that afternoon that dinner in the evening, that needs to be planned. Ask your partner, whoever is cooking it, what are we going to have tonight? And you can allowance, so give yourself an allowance of a certain amount of calories for that evening meal, so you're covered. Whereas if you're doing things on the fly and you're kind of just winging it, you're going to make so many mistakes, and all this is going to come crashing down and will be part of the reason why you're putting in all this effort and you're feeling like you're making sacrifices but not getting any results. So there are 3 ways that you can regain control of your nutrition starting right now. Track your nutrition for the next 7 days. Know and find out your numbers and give yourself a start point and go from there. Try and eat the same things, whether that's just for breakfast and lunch, and then again, going back to what we were just speaking about, giving yourself a little bit of freedom for dinner with the family, right? But trying to keep repetitive meals in is so helpful. And then the last one is just looking ahead of time and planning ahead of time, because if you leave things to chance and you wing things, let's be honest, that's gotten you to where you are now. So don't make that mistake anymore.